It was like triggered by a book I read. I read a book called Who Built the Moon? And I kind of was so fascinated by it. And it like kind of pretty much like kind of says, moon is not like a natural object. And I think that was a great idea for a movie. And then I kind of thought, well, what happens if this object would fall down to Earth and we have to deal with it? And that's how the movie, in a way, the first inkling of a movie idea always starts. You know, you find a really fascinating idea which fascinates yourself. And then it took like pretty much 3-4 years to, or 5 years even, to get the right script. And it's a relatively simple idea. The moon's falling to Earth. We have to figure out what it is and how to stop it. And it's then, you know, about the people who go up there and their families who stay behind and have to survive. The idea of this film is like naturally very, very fantastic. And because it's so fantastic, you want to kind of, you know, give it, you know, like a lot of believability. And the believability comes from science. And, you know, the more like naturally you research, the more you can like kind of give the people, you know, some sort of like a basis, you know, that people can believe in it. And we went to great lengths, you know, to talk to a lot of people. But at the end, I'm always like say, well, it has to work for the story. And so it's a mix between, you know, like kind of fact and fiction. We had like our first Skype. He lived in New York, I was in LA. And I immediately kind of said, oh my God, the coolest kid ever. He is one of the best actors I've ever worked with because it's effortless for him. There is no, you never have the feeling he's acting. That's like kind of a very, very amazing quality. I grew up in Germany. In Germany, we don't have like really superheroes. And I don't understand superhero films. I honestly admit it. And so I had to find, in a way, my own genre, you know. And I realized, you know, that, and that was like actually probably came through Independence Day. I like had a lot of disaster elements in the film. When you like study disaster movies, you realize normal people have to become superheroes. Because if they not develop some superpowers, they will not will survive the disaster. I always like kind of think a movie has to kind of tap into problems of our time. And I think this movie heeds a big warning against we should be very careful with artificial intelligence. And we should, you know, keep our planet intact. But that's also like deeply rooted in all my films. I'm always, you know, try to put a message in that we should be careful that we don't pollute our planets too much because we have not yet the technology to leave it. I tend more and more to believe in CGI. But I also believe still in practical effects because they're like kind of the glue which holds it all together. And when you come very close to people and you have to feel this is a real piece of wood, you know, or a real car, or, you know, then it's like kind of makes the people more buy into that this is really happening. That was some of the hardest scenes I ever shot in my life because it was a real cockpit. We didn't build that cockpit, we got it. We found it in a museum in Florida, and the museum went into bankruptcy. And we said to them, can we get this thing? And they said, what? What do you want to do with it? And so we like convinced them to lend it to us. And we said, we will repair it all. And we realized from the very beginning it has 2 halves, which is great. But it's also in a movie you'd make everything take apart. But this had only 2 parts. Patrick and Halle had a very, very cool chemistry with each other. They're both excellent actors, you know. But it's always like you never know, will they have chemistry? And then John Bradley is this sweet guy. You know, I saw him in Game of Thrones, and I fell in love with him, because even in that like kind of brutal world, he was this like gentle soul, you know, who survives this whole ordeal. And that was for me the most important. That, you know, have somebody who's crazy but also extremely lovable. And that's what he is. And so this was a really, really cool combination, you know, of these three actors. I was like a fan of Michael Pena, so we found like Michael Pena, and he is awesome in this film as the car salesman. He owns 10 dealerships all over America. Kelly was proposed by Huai brothers. They had made a movie with her, and they allowed me to see the unfinished film. And I also like immediately said, "Oh my God, she's like." You know, when you like kind of have work with actors of a different you know, language and nationality, it's quite difficult. I had this in my last movie where I worked with a lot of Japanese actors, and I needed all the support around me with translators and people to judge the performance and stuff like that. Kelly was Canadian. I could talk to her in perfect English. She is Canadian. But she's also an accomplished singer, musician. She is quite a good actress, and she's this multi-talent, and also far beyond her years as a person. I mean, she feels like a very, very old soul.